to another episode of Mercs ACM.
Welcome to the cause.
I'm Brian.
I'm John.
And today we're going to do a little kind of different special battle report. We've had some questions about how melee works, and so we're going to try and throw that out there at you. And we might even get into a situation, because I'm going to be using House 4, maybe we'll have an opportunity to capture somebody.
There you go. And then we're also going to cover the difference between tape measures and using the movement card.
Right, because we've had this discussion kind of ongoing even in our local group.
Yeah.
And we've come to the decision that you're better off just using the movement card.
But it's actually just preference. But remember, you can only move 4 inches at a time. One movement point. You can only go to places that you can see.
Right.
You have to have line of sight to it. And if you go back a movement in any way, shape, or form, like the old don't take your hand off the chess piece, you can only do that for one movement point. Yep. So it's easier to use the card in the end. And once you get used to flipping it on its side and using the lines on the card itself, it just becomes simpler.
Now we do have the plastic, the laser cut ones provided by MegaCon Games. However, with every pack of your cards, you're actually going to get a movement template that's also going to have your corporate abilities on the back. We put them in plastic just so we can kind of keep a card with the corporate abilities. So if you don't have the laser cut ones, don't worry. With your faction cards, you've got a movement template. And by the way, John, before we go any further, I want to tell you, nice banner.
Thank you.
Nice banner. Why don't you tell the good folks where we got that banner from?
You got that from Banners on the Cheap.
All
when
right.
They had their $10 banner sale. So I got a 2x4. This is the same stuff that we got our battle boards made on. Just go to the forum, get the JPEG. Actually, it's at the top of the forum now that 2.0 is kicking off.
That's right.
MegaCon Games, the Mercs forum is getting a little busier. And the link about the playmats is, or the forum discussion about the playmats is the second or third one.
Right.
It's on the front page. But if you go to the second page of that discussion, I wish I knew who it was, but they made the JPEG version. They extracted the actual USCR and Tri-C pictures from the PDFs that are provided. And then I went to Banners on the Cheap, uploaded the picture onto a 2x3 banner, and every once in a while, once you sign up for them, they start giving you specials and everything like that. So like 2 weeks ago, it was free shipping and 10% off. So I got that bad boy for $11. I figured, what the hey, it'll look good in the videos.
Great group of people. We've done business with them before. Hey, send them some business. They're good. They'll take care of you. Also,
well, that's the other thing, is that the next surprise is the next time they have a no shipping sale, because that's one problem with some of these companies, because they ship them in large tubes.
right.
So it's an odd size, so the shipping is a little bit more expensive, but it costs like $10-15. So if you're going to have it done, have a couple of them made or split it up with some buddies from your local game group.
Right.
But as I was digging through the forum, Hot Carl from the Michigan Mercs has made a bunch of different mats with 2D terrain on them. And I've got 3 of those uploaded and in my cart right now.
Sweet.
Just waiting for, get a little extra spending money in the right sale.
Sweet.
And we'll get those out there so you can carry them around and play a little bit easier when you're going down to the local game store. When we go down to Fenercia, I'll take those with me.
Absolutely.
But you know me, I like the 3D terrain, and we've got some really good 3D terrain here. Not to toot our own horns, toot.
But don't forget also, we're still working on our $20 table project.
Yes.
We're going to be uploading some videos showing you how we're constructing the individual elements of that, so that you can maybe find some inspiration and do some things there on your own.
I'm waiting for the humidity to die down a little bit so that I can get to spray painting.
That's a good idea. By the way, we got a couple folks want to give a shout out real quick to. First off, want to give a shout out to Nikki at MegaCon Games. Nikki, appreciate your support and everything that you're doing for us. And by the way, folks.
Oh, and Bryan, don't forget Bryan Chotton. Thanks
right.
for sharing our videos on Twitter, man. That's pretty awesome. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Listen, at Gen Con, be sure and stop by the Mercs booth. Also, they're going to be having demos set up. I'll be there. So hopefully we'll get to sit down at the table together. And also want to give a shout out to Corey Denny. Corey's been an active supporter of our program.
He has.
And so we wanted to say hey and give him many thanks, brother. We appreciate it. We're about to take to the tabletop.
Yep.
And there's going to be some carnage. There's going to be some combat. And
Let's discuss our list before. Well, I chose my army based on movement and their ability to do melee. So I have brought the Kemvar. I will be playing Kemvar. I brought the leader with a movement of 2 and his wicked sword. And then I brought Scooby, Del Casa, the assassin, the more famous of the Del Casa brothers.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
So Scooby Del Casa, the assassin, will be there. Movement of 3. The engineer with the movement of 3. The spy with the movement of 3. And the shock with the movement of 3. Everybody on the team has some sort of an effective melee weapon, and
nice.
and some movement.
Nice. All right, for House 4, going to be running the Steward because the command ability, and it's got some grenade action going on. The attack and move, smoke. Yeah, it's nice stuff. Okay.
Don't just say what they are. Don't be going all into the back end of it.
Why, you did?
I did not. I just said movement and what their melee
Well,
weapon
but I'm
was.
looking at them as I'm deciding to now.
Always trying to be the showboat.
The sniper. Got to take the sniper.
Snip at.
Yeah, he's pretty sweet. The priest, because he's got the melee. Gonna take the engineer also because he has melee. He's got the axe. And that leaves me one more, and I got to choose between the regular house member and the heavy.
I'm gonna bring the heavy.
Actually, since we are trying to do more of a melee, the house 4 member has flashbang grenades, so we'll bring him.
All right.
So we're gonna leave the heavy at home today. And by the way, mine are the Wile E. Coyotes, but Tweety Bird will not be playing today.
Oh, too bad.
All right. So in just a second, we'll see you over at the battle table, so we can lay out the scenario and we can let it rip. Tater Chip.
Sounds good. See you soon.
You're such a nerd.
All right, so welcome to, call it our virtual miniatures laboratory, if you will.
Oh, that was classy.
Yeah,
Virtual Miniatures Laboratory.
because we keeps it real. Yeah.
Real.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to show you a couple of interesting principles. We've kind of got a tactical situation sort of kind of set up. This is purely for illustrative purposes of the different rules and different tactics and strategies that are involved and how you resolve them. The first thing we want to show you is on movement. There's been some conversation, I know, in our group about tape measure versus using the movement templates.
And actually, DDRains
Right,
put a request on the Mercs Overwatch Facebook page
right.
to cover tape measure movement versus template movement, card template movement,
And melee.
melee, and then the third one was differences that we found in the cards and the rule book, but we're still digging into that, so that'll be later.
Also going to show you a little bit. House 4 has a very interesting corporate ability. They've got 2 of them actually. The first one is they can ignore 1 suppression on that. The first suppression check each round they can ignore. The second thing is they have the ability to take hostages. And so we're going to kind of demonstrate that and show how that works. So I've got my Wile E. Coyotes moved up, and you've got your Kemvar moved up.
Right, I've got my Kemvar. My corporate traits are, of course, the active camouflage. I'm always considered 1 cover rating higher than what I am.
Right.
So if I have somebody in the open, they're getting a +1. If I have them behind what is normally considered +1 cover, it's a +3.
Right.
So that's always nice. And then closed system, which would have been nice for my Safadu to have during that one game.
Right.
when you set the nuke off in my face
Right.
and killed everybody with
Because
the
of the
toxins.
toxins. Right.
So Kemvar doesn't have to worry about the toxins.
So with the Wile E. Coyotes here from House 4, this is my unit. My steward is going to move first. His name is Yosemite Sam. And he has a movement of 2. So moving with the movement card. Now you'll notice I've got miniatures kind of packed around him, so it's a little tough to drop the template in there. Still not a problem. There are marks on the template, on the movement template.
Here, we'll get a little bit closer there. You can see the mark there and the mark there. Remember, you start from the fat end and go to the skinny end. So you would put the front of your base there to the back of the base there.
All right, and can turn up to 90 degrees. The way I'm playing him is, we'll say the red lettering on the front until I get those marked a little bit better. The direction he's facing is where he's at. Okay, so we moved him up. What?
Now let's go over. Now remember, if you need to make a change to a character or a movement in the middle of it,
Right.
remember you can only go back 1 space. So if he moved him up to here where he initially had him,
Right, as long as I don't take my finger
off of him, he can move him back to here and be kind of like, well, I'm kind of out in the open, hung out to dry here, so I'm going to move him right back kind of there, which is a little bit better,
Right.
but not as bad.
And also, don't forget, as long as you can get within 1 base width, this distance right here, of cover, remember, it doesn't cost an action or anything to snap to cover.
Snap to cover.
But I actually want him out here right now for illustration purposes. I mean,
Okay.
after all, I got my sniper up here to cover him, right? Just in case anything goes down.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at, I believe your shock is moving next.
Yeah, my shock is going to move next.
Okay, now he's bounded.
He
correct?
is bound.
All right.
Now, the principle of the bound is that you take your higher initiative model
Right.
and bound them
Right.
to a lower initiative model, and you go on the lower initiative model's initiative,
Right.
basically. So, but it gives you 1 additional movement point when you do that.
Right, so normally his movement is what?
3.
So this, oh, excuse me, her, because
Her.
the shock is a she.
Yes, the shock is a she.
So normally she has a movement of 3, but
3.
because you've bound her,
Right.
then, and what that means is she was actually scheduled to go earlier in the turn. All right. What would normally happen now is the model that she's bound to, say it's this one, would activate. All right. And so she would go ahead and she would do her movement, but she would get that bonus movement point, which would bump her movement up from 3 to 4.
To 4.
Okay.
Correct. Now, this is where we're going to demonstrate the use of the tape measure and why I personally feel, and I think Bryan agrees with me on this, as to why we don't think the tape measure is effective, even on 3D surfaces. We've already declared that these little half obstacles like this, the sandbags, the fountain and whatnot, it doesn't cost a movement point to go over them because your Mercs are highly trained athletic beings and they
Can hurdle them.
or scooch over them or do
Right.
some fantastic move to get over it.
And let's just make sure we understand, because in bounding, remember, the shock had delayed until this Merc's turn. Now, when this Merc's turn arrives, this Merc actually activates first. Okay? So he does his actions, whatever they are.
Right.
Maybe shot, maybe he's holding for next round, whatever the case may be. And so that brings us to the shock's move.
Actually, he is going to hold
Okay.
so that he gets a +2 on his initiative modifier next turn.
Right.
And the assassin already has a +2 initiative modifier, so next round he'll be going on a 4.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll be able to take care of what I need to take care of.
Sounds good.
All
Okay.
right.
So you're moving your shock. And
Now, I get 4 movement points.
Correct.
Each movement point is 4 inches, so you can just say, oh wow, roll out your tape measure and do 16 inches and go to where you're going to go.
No, you can't.
I can't. Thank you.
Why not?
Because I'm starting right here. This is where my shock is.
Right.
She's right here, buried in this little corner right here. And I want her to go over here.
Right.
Now the problem is that that's out of line of sight to where she is. So I need to go up 4 inches for the first movement.
Right.
And then I would need to go the additional 12 inches like such. And then I would snap the cover. Now, honestly, I would rather know that I can go here, keep my hand on the miniature, and be like, okay, which way am I going to go? I'm going to go this way. 1, 2, 3, snap to cover. That way, if at any point during the movement I need to stop, I can easily go back and readjust, because what if I finally notice in the middle of my movement that, oh, he's got a heavy sitting over there and I'm going to be wide open, or there's no real place to get good cover when I get my final movement over there, so I can do it. And also, you're not allowed to pre-measure in this game. That's the other big thing. So whipping this thing out 16 inches and laying it across the table is actually a no-no, because you can't pre-measure.
Right.
So put your tape measures away. Go ahead and order your awesome, wicked acrylic templates.
And understand that you actually get one with each set of cards that with each one of the card decks.
Yep.
That you actually get one. Now we've got ours in these plastic.
And then you get one with the rule book as well. So there's more than enough of them out there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I like them. I think they're better than the tape measure, and we tried.
Right.
We've been playing tape measure movement games for
Years.
Too many
years
to let you guys know about.
Right.
And I'll be honest, that is one of the neat things that I liked about Mercs when I first started playing it.
Right.
I mean, every game needs its niche.
Right.
And this one had the cool Overwatch, the cool suppression, the snap to cover, and the wicked template.
Right.
So, and here's the other thing. One thing to remember with the 2.0 rules is that even though I will bring my... You move from here to here, or here to here.
Right.
Here to here.
Right.
You can also move anywhere inside the base of the card now, whereas before, in version 1, that was a movement point. That's what you had to do. You had to manipulate the card to try and get it so that you could get where you were going and then snap.
Right.
Now you can move to there if you need to, and then that's your movement point, and then you go to the next.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
So, tape measures, keep them in 40K.
Yep.
Don't use them in Mercs.
Okay, so we want to show you something real quick now. When we start talking about melee, okay? Melee. John, if you don't mind, I'm going to borrow this miniature for just a second.
Why are you going to borrow it?
Well, because I want to demonstrate the principles of melee, okay?
Wait a second. Scooby Del Casa,
He gets
the
to-
greatest assassin in the history of Kemvar.
He gets to show his stuff in just a minute.
Excellent.
Okay. When we look at melee, what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize the priest from House 4.
Wait a second.
The priest from...
Or your priest is going to attack my assassin?
Correct. And then you're
Oh, that's a bunch of crap. I had him set up there to run out and slaughter your steward.
You're still going to get to do that.
Whatever.
Right. Okay, so he has a movement of 3.
I don't like your virtual miniature theater.
Well, you can...
Whatever.
Okay, so he's got a movement of 3. So what I'm going to do, I decide I'm going to move up and get him into melee. All right? So I move, and I'm in contact. Now, for most models, if they have a melee score, all right, then what you're going to do is you're going to make a roll here. The target roll, the target number, is going to be the opposing model's reaction score. So what is his reaction, John?
His reaction is 7.
7. So that's my base number to hit, is his reaction, okay? Now, because I moved into melee, on this particular round, what I'm going to have to do is subtract 3 from my die roll. So as of right now, okay, with the -3 for moving and everything, 7 plus 3, 10.
You're at a 10.
But he has a melee skill of 1.
Of 1.
So that'll drop it back down to 9.
9.
All right. Now, if I'm on the flank,
Which your You are in the flank because the green is the front on that model.
That's
the black
gonna,
is the sides.
So that's going to be -1.
Okay, so you're now to 8 with a
Right.
+1 weapon strength.
All right, and do I get a bonus here for being close to you?
No, because even though I am in the open,
Right.
I have one +1 cover
Right.
because of my Kemvar skill.
Okay, but
So I'm back up to 9.
if I were in base contact, I get +2. Right.
Okay.
Which takes it down to 6.
Oh yeah, that's right. We forgot about the base contact. The base, the short, the medium.
But you
Right.
have active camouflage,
Correct.
which bumps it back up to 7.
To 7.
So what I would need right now, I would need to roll. I rolled a 7.
Awesome.
So I would hit. My weapon strength on my melee with my shovel is a 1. What's your armor strength?
My armor is a 1.
Your armor is a
But
1.
you are at a +1
Right.
because of the proximity in the flank.
Right. So that makes my shovel actually weapon strength 2. So we're at the point where the first thing is you're going to take a blood.
I will take a blood.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to make an armor check.
Armor check.
To see if your armor's broken.
And the armor on these guys is a 6.
Okay.
And I rolled a 10.
So his armor would be safe. Now, just to show, because again, he is a guy that pretty much plays like a regular individual. So let's say that I didn't actually have to move up. Let's say that for whatever reason, I had ended up here, okay? I can snap, right? 1 base width, okay? If I do that, then the base target number, 7, which is your reaction.
Yes.
I didn't move, so I don't have the -3.
Right.
So I'm at 7. My melee is 1, so that means I need a 6. I'm on your flank. I need a 5. And I'm at close range. That's down to 3.
Are we doing that right?
We are. I just looked on the chart.
Okay.
And +1 because you're active camouflage, so I would need a 4, and I rolled an 8.
An 8.
So again, I would have hit. Now, there are a couple models that are able to do their thing in melee, and warning, this is fixing to get graphic. Okay, this is Scooby Del Casa,
Assassin extraordinaire.
and he's about to assassinate Yosemite Sam.
All right. So Scooby has a movement of 3.
He's notorious that way.
Yes. So you're moving, so I can go 1, 2, yoink. Hey there, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm behind you
Yeah.
with my 3rd movement.
Right.
I just ran around you
Thank you.
because I love you.
Appreciating that.
So now Scooby is going to attempt to assassinate the steward. All right. Running down the numbers. What's your reaction?
On the steward, his base reaction is a 5.
5.
Right.
This is going to end very badly for him
Probably so.
because this is going to be an auto hit.
Well, okay, let's work the numbers out.
Okay,
5 because of his reaction. Now he
Okay.
moved.
He moved.
Now most
But
models
most models
would subtract 3 from their die roll.
correct.
However, Scooby's an exception.
Scooby and the Shock.
Right.
Okay, she and he both have no penalty. Their weapon strength is increased by 1, and the attack does 2 blood.
Right. So
Right off the bat, I have a melee 3.
okay.
So I don't have a penalty.
You don't adjust it with the 3.
So it's still a 5.
It's almost like the example where I just snapped into combat.
right.
So you're still at a 5
5
plus your melee skill
of 3.
takes it down to 2.
2. I am in base range, which takes it down to 0.
Right.
I am on your rear, which takes it down to -2. And you have no cover,
Right.
which takes it down to -3.
So it's an auto hit.
So you just take 2 blood because I stepped up next to you.
Okay. And what's the strength on the weapon?
The strength is a 2,
All right. But you're in the rear.
which gives a +1, and another +1, so it's a weapon strength 4.
Right.
Because
So-
the charge gives a weapon strength of +1, and the rear gives a weapon strength of +1.
And my armor check is a 5, which I make, so his armor's still intact. But having taken 2 blood, he only has 1 blood left. Yeah, he's in bad shape.
He's in bad shape.
Okay? Now, I think it's important that we point out, the only way that you can make melee attacks, you have to have a card with a stat line for a weapon that includes the melee keyword.
Right.
If you don't have the melee keyword, you cannot make a melee attack.
Right.
So keep that in mind. Now, a lot of these guys have pistols,
Which is a base attack.
right? And they also have...
And my Kemvar always use Glock safe action pistols.
That's horrible.
I know it is.
That's just...
Hey, you can't beat a Glock, buddy.
Should I hold my 7-Up can over the table? Okay, so thank you.
Don't even give me crap for just
Thank you.
talking about my weapon of choice.
Thank you, Mr. Del Casa. Now, we want to show you an extreme example of some of the things that you can accomplish. We have my sniper up here in the bell tower of this church. And the shock...
The shock has moved up here, so it's now her second turn.
Right.
She also has a movement of 3.
Right.
Now, the shock is not so much... He's not right here. If you looked on this side of it, there is a window, and he is actually inside the church on the top floor.
Right.
1 floor up, which is 1
Set the card
on its sideways. So he is 1 floor up like that, okay? There. So what we're going to do is the shock has a movement of 3, and she goes 1, 2 into the building, and with her third movement, she is going to get right up behind Sniper Man.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Sniper Man. How are you? So she's behind. Let's take the roof off this. The roof is on fire. Okay. All right. So this is taking place on the second floor at this window here. The shock has the kinetic fists.
Right.
All right. They have a melee of 1.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. She also has the ability, it's called Fighter for her. This Merc may perform a melee attack after a move at no penalty and increases her weapon's melee attack roll by 2.
Okay.
All right, so that's 2. I'm behind him in base range.
My sniper has a reaction of 4.
Okay, so you have a reaction of 4, and just off of my melee attack roll being upped by 2,
Right.
the fact that I am
Because this is another model.
right,
Without penalty
Without
for
penalty.
the moving into melee.
right, I'm in your rear, which is another 2, so that takes it down to 0.
Okay.
Then I am in base range,
All right.
which
rear
is
arc.
a +2.
You're in my rear
Rear
arc
arc.
in base range.
So that's a 4 plus 2, 6. All right, so we're already at a -2 to hit you.
Okay. So you hit.
So it's a hit.
All right.
Now, here's the thing. On a movement of 2 to 3, the Force 1 effect. Successful attacks from this weapon cause the Force 1 status effect, and the target is knocked back 1 card length. All right? So it does 1 blood automatically because I moved 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And you are at a -5 on your armor check penalty.
Okay.
And
Now, it's actually, we're saying that it was only 1 elevation level, EL1.
yes,
The distance across the width of the card is actually 2.5 inches. That counts as EL1.
1.
So he fell from EL1. Okay. So he fell through that level.
so he would be knocked a card length out this window down to here.
Okay. So he takes 1 blood damage for the fall because he fell through
Fell
1 elevation
elevation
level,
level.
and it's rounded up. Okay. So if you fell 1.5,
It would have
he
been
would still
2.
only take. Yeah, he would take 2.
2, rounded up.
Yep.
So he takes 1. If he would have been in the bell tower,
Yeah.
yes. So you would take 2 blood from
Right.
getting punched out the window,
Okay.
and then you will make your armor check at
Right.
a -5.
All right. My armor check with him is a 4, so I would need a 9.
9.
I rolled an 8, so he fails. And when he impacts the ground, he takes another blood.
Blood.
And he only has 3, so the sniper is off the table.
No, that's only 2 blood.
No, he took 2 from you hitting, right?
No. 1
Oh,
blood.
He took 1
1
from you
blood
hitting.
from hitting.
Okay, and 1 from the
1
fall.
from falling. So
okay.
it's a 2 blood
Gotcha.
attack.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
See, I'm even learning stuff. All right. Nicely done. Now
That's a special circumstance, but the reason his sniper is up here on this thing is because his sniper has is it height make right? Height
that's
makes right.
correct. Yes.
Where he gets a weapon strength bonus of 1 for
Right.
being elevated.
Right.
So he has a weapon strength 1 rifle.
No, his normal weapon strength is 2.
2. Oh,
But by being elevated, that bumps him up
3.
to 3.
Wow, that's awesome.
Not only that, but also remember that being an elevation level higher gets me +1
Yes.
added to my die roll.
To your
to
die
hit.
roll.
Now,
Correct.
I want to show you something else, this little hostage rule that House 4 has going on. Because this is good stuff, okay?
Well, do you want to shoot at one of my dudes?
Well, not yet.
Not yet. We're going to set it up for
We're
success.
going to set it up. Yeah, these guys have bound, okay? And they bound, and now he is going to fling a stun grenade.
Now, this is the beauty, and this is why you have to watch the order in which you do your bounding. Remember, the bound E goes first, or and then the bounders go
Right.
after.
And what that's going to do, that's going to drop that grenade.
Now, this thing has a grenade with a throw of 3.
Yes, he can fling.
Which is 3 card lengths. So
that's right, going to be on that edge right there.
right there.
Okay, so let's do this. For the purposes of our illustration, let's move him.
Out further.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. So the only one, let's say that he's the only one that I'm catching in the grenade blast. On this grenade, there's no roll to hit. There's no
What?
There's no weapon strength. What happens is
What?
when it hits, if you're under the template, you're stunned for 2 activations.
So you bring out the lovely stun template, and like we've been doing, it's easier. Bryan came up with a good idea with the tri-Cs. If you have something that goes away after a certain amount, we'll just stack the number, and then at the refresh phase, you pull it away. That's just a personal thing that we do in our group.
But now this grenade works a little bit different because they don't go away during the refresh phase. They actually go away during your activation. So he's stunned and cannot activate.
For 2 activations.
Correct.
Okay, so there you go.
All right, so now we've got these other guys that are bound to the House 4 members. So let's look at the priest. The priest normally has a move of 3. Being bound gives him that bonus movement that we like.
4.
So he's got that movement of 4. So what we're going to do,
He's going to run out and bonk him with his flashlight.
1, 2, and yeah, we're close enough we can snap. So we're in base contact with him.
Okay.
And then we're going to do the same thing with the engineer. Now, he's got a move of 3. So this might be a little bit trickier. But I think...
Now remember, we've decided that the
Yeah.
fountain,
Yep. So he'll be able to snap
because their prowess.
and get right there.
Okay. All right. So see, they didn't even need to bound. Well, they did need to bound so that it all actions on the same turn.
Now, during the refresh phase, okay, if I have at least 1 in contact, base contact with a stunned model, I can take it hostage. Let's say that during his activation, he moves him into base-to-base contact. I have 2 in base-to-base contact. He has 1, so I still have more.
Right. Now, if he would have moved there and then my leader would have ran up,
Then-
and we would have had, each of us had 2 in base-to-base
Right,
contact.
and it wouldn't have happened. But because he has the 1, what happens is during the refresh phase of that turn, this model is removed from play.
He is captured.
He's a hostage.
He's a hostage.
And he's captured, okay? All right. I believe, John, that was what we wanted to show the folks.
I do. I think we did. We showed melee. Now we showed totally awesome I think possibly some of the best melee in the
Right.
game. Kemvar Assassin and Kemvar Shock.
But you also saw standard melee.
And standard melee. So once again, remember, the first thing you do is you figure out what the target model's reaction is, and then you start doing all of your modifiers off of that.
Right.
Remembering
Right.
to that there is a melee penalty
Right. If you move.
if you move.
Right.
But also remember that that is normally offset because most models have a melee of 1.
Right.
You will be in base contact, which gives a +2, so that takes it to back down to whatever the reaction number is.
Right.
And then if you try and get on the flank, so if you're going to move, make sure you move either onto the flank or onto the rear to get the best possible results
Right.
from your
And
melee assault.
And also remember this, that attackers can leave melee combat without penalty. But an attacker may not leave and re-enter melee with the same target during the same activation.
Right. So I can't go in, whack him, go back out, come back in and whack him again. Doesn't
Right.
work that way.
All right. If it is not during the same activation, then entering melee with a previous target is legal. All right. And this is important because in some cases, remember that some Mercs may get a second activation in the round. Also remember that the way Mercs melee works, just because I get in melee attack against you doesn't mean you get to automatically return.
No,
attack
you
against
do
me
not.
during
You
that-
gotta wait
in
until
some
your
miniatures
activation.
games they do that.
Right.
In Mercs you have to wait until
You
your
have to wait
activation.
until your activation.
Okay, so listen, we appreciate you watching, and I guess we'll go over to the table and get our final thoughts.
Yep. Sounds like a good idea.
Awesome.
All right. Hope you all enjoyed it. This
Jason?
Teaching Virtual Miniatures Laboratory.
Yeah.
TM. Registered Trademark. Inc.
What's up?
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the cause.
And so we're back. That's our battle instruction learning.
Learning. This is going to be a regular episode. Next week we'll do a battle report. If you've got thoughts on what factions you want to see fight, let us know.
We'd love to do that. I hope you enjoyed the episode today, seeing our views on tape measure versus the measuring template. Also, you got to see a couple things as far as the melee combat. You can see why Kemvar is particularly
Brutal.
well suited for that.
Brutal.
You also got to see some of their active camouflage come into play. And you also got to hopefully see a little bit about House 4. Some of the things that make that a pretty cool faction.
Yeah.
And give us some feedback. Let us know if you'd like to find out more about the different factions. It's one thing to just talk about them.
Right.
It's another thing to be able to put them on the table and kind of, take it out for a test drive. See how it goes.
See how they go.
And who knows, maybe you can see one of the factions in play and you can say, that would be a faction that I would be interested in. A lot of times we have people that they want to ask us, okay, what faction should I start with? What
Right.
faction should I play? What faction should I take to a tournament? You also got to see our implementation. Of course, it didn't have time to recover, but the CCC armor, that nanotechnology,
I killed her too fast. I was
Killed
all
her.
like,
Scooby does some heinous damage. So we hope you have enjoyed this, and we'll be bringing more videos. And John, how will they know the difference between what we've done today, where it's more of an instructional type scenario?
these will be our standard episodes.
Standard episodes.
Standard episode. So I think this is now episode 3.
Correct.
And we'll name it something clever. And then next week when we do our battle report, we'll call that Battle Report 2.
And we'll also
Easy peasy.
We'll also have some hobby episodes that are related strictly to making tables, building terrain, assembling models, painting your models, doing those different things as well. Okay?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, listen, John, nice banner.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Shout out again to all of our peeps, and we hope you enjoy your Mercs gaming, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome to the cause.